The jugular venous pressure or the jugular venous pulse. So this JVP is, we measure it clinically using a ruler. I will make a video to show you how to do it, but theoretically, or using an electronic transducer, you put a transducer on the neck, and on a phlebogram, which is this diagram, this is what we have. So there are different waves, upward and downward deflection, right? So the first one is called the A wave, right? So the A wave is the first positive wave, right? So you are coming up like this, positive deflection, right? It happens due to a rise in atrial pressure during atrial systole. It happens before ventricular systole, right? So it precedes ventricular systole, then it goes down, right? So the reason why it's up here, I said, is because of what? Of increase in atrial pressure during atrial systole. Then you have a negative X wave, right? So it occurs due to a fall in atrial pressure, and this is happening because of atrial diastole, and this point marks the beginning of ventricular systole. Then you go up again here on this a small positive deflection called the C wave. It's called a C wave because at first it was thought to be due to a transmission of impulse from the carotid artery, but then the truth is that this positive deflection is due to we can say it's an increase in atrial pressure due to bulging of the atrioventricular valves into the atria, right? So if they bulge up, those AV leaflets, there will be an increase in what? In the atrial pressure, right? So because it was, as I said it was thought to be from carotids, that's why it's called a C wave. In the cardiac cycle, it happens during isometric contraction, right? So the next is X1, right? So this one was the X atrial diastole, but now this X1, this one is not a negative deflection, and it's occurring due to a fall in atrial pressure. This occurs during ejection period, and it is during this period when the atrioventricular ring, that fibrous ring, is pulled towards the ventricle. So you are more like increasing the atrial chamber. That's why the atrial pressure falls, right, on X1. Then you have this little big positive deflection, a V wave, right? So this V wave is due to a rise in atrial pressure. How does this occur? Right, so this pressure increases because of atrial filling or the venous return, and it is obtained during isometric relaxation, right? And then the last negative wave here is the Y wave, right? So this Y wave is a negative wave. It denotes the fall in atrial pressure, right? So this fall is occurring during because of opening of the AV valves and emptying into the ventricles. This wave appears during rapid and slow filling periods. So the Y wave is then followed by the A wave again, and the cycle repeats again and again, right? So you just have to watch this and try to understand what's happening here, so that when we talk about the pathologies, you get the sense of it, right? So I put the phlebogram one more time, and now we're talking about the pathology on each wave, right? So the first one is elevation of the A wave, also known as prominent A wave, right? So this one, it comes just before the carotid pulse, right? So when does this happen? This happens in a tricuspid stenosis and tricuspid regurgitation. It also happens in a pulmonary hypertension, pulmonic valve stenosis, and pulmonary embolism. That's when we have the giant A wave, right? So on this A wave, we also have a pathology called a canon A wave. It's the giant A wave, right? So it's okay as a result of an abrupt fall, right? So this canon A wave occurs because the atria will contract against the closed tricuspid valve. Atrial contraction against the closed tricuspid valve, right? So it will be a giant A wave or cannon wave, right? Complete heart block, right? Also happens in paroxysmal atrioventricular nodal tachycardia, in ventricular tachycardia, and junctional rhythm. So it's called regular cannon A wave when it's happening here. The next pathology is on the V wave, right? It's called a giant V wave or abnormal V wave. This one occurs if tricuspid valve is incompetent, so that's in tricuspid regurgitation. And in this case, this V will be tau, will be sinus on a pattern on oscillating up to the earlobe. Next is the X wave, abnormal X wave or X descent. This one is happening in atrial fibrillation, cardiac tamponade, constrictive pericarditis. Last but not least, we have the abnormal Y wave, right? So it could be a slow Y descent. A slow Y descent occurs in tricuspid stenosis, and a rapid Y descent occurs on chronic constrictive pericarditis, right? So this is just a start. You have to watch this video again, or probably read your reference textbook and understand the concept, so that when you are asked to examine the JVP, questions may come like, okay, which patterns could you actually see on a phlebogram, and explain where those patterns are coming from. So thank you for watching this video. Please make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any of my latest videos. Thank you.